Hey, Rip City, this is Donovan Klingen. We've got the latest news and the best views right here on the Blazers balcony with Brooke, Olzendam, and Casey Holdahl.
Greetings, Blazer fans, and welcome to the Blazers Balcony, episode 139 of the Blazers Balcony, presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. I am your co-host, Casey Holdahl. I'm here joined by my co-host, Brooke Olzendam, in her palatial estate in Southwest Portland for the final time of 2024.
Aww.
Brooke Olzendam, how are you doing?
I'm just dying because Casey got here literally an hour ago, and I had to inform him what this word was, kikiing, because if you are listening and watch Bravo or The Housewives, like, it's a thing where you're just like chit-chatting and gossiping and stuff like that. It's called kikiing. So I was like, Casey, we got to start this. We've been kikiing too long. And so I explained it to him. And then we started, he tried to do it, and we started dying laughing. He's like, hello, friends, welcome to the, and we both started dying laughing. It was
Well, then I laughed, and there was like a snot bubble coming out of my nose, and yeah, so it was we stopped and we talked for another 20 minutes.
Yeah,
we did. We're going to do the show. So is Kiki someone on the show that talked a lot?
Kiki's not a person. Kikiing is a thing.
Well, no, I get that, but I was wondering about like the origins of.
I don't know the origins.
Word.
I just know that it started. I could be wrong, but I feel like it became a thing this season where like, oh, we're just kikiing, and I'm like, what does that mean? And then I got to know it as the seasons went along, that it's a thing where you just like sit down and you're gossiping,
sure,
you're like chit chatting, you're kikiing.
It's a good word. Like,
it's great,
it
sounds like
what it is. Yeah. No,
what is that? A pseudonym or no? What is it?
So. An onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia, my favorite word.
Yeah,
it's
which
an
is a good word in and of itself. Yeah.
So
I don't know if kikiing is an onomatopoeia, because an onomatopoeia is like something that. Well, I guess it could
sounds
be
like,
if the sound of the talking sounds like kiki,
like ha ha ha.
Yeah, then like I could see that.
I don't know if that works.
It's kind of like halfway in between. We could call it an onomatopoeia because it gives you a reason to say the word.
Yeah, it's a fun word. Yeah. So we did that as we always do, but we did it longer than we normally do.
Well, Brooke texted me this morning. She's like, "Hey, I'm already up. Let's do it early." I was like, "Yeah, I'm still asleep, but yeah, I'll get moving." And so then I didn't even really come that much earlier than I would have anyways. I mean, I was trying to, but I had a little bit of work that I had to get done first. And then I'm driving over, and I'm like, I'm about a half hour earlier. And in my head, I was like, I know exactly how this is going to go. Like we're going to talk for an hour, and it's going to be great, and then we're going to start the podcast.
Yeah,
so I fully came into it knowing what it was going to be, which is great. Like it's nice.
That's how it always goes.
Yeah,
but this one was on like another level, though.
Yeah, no, it was an extended one too, and we covered a lot of ground too.
We did, which we cannot cover on the podcast.
No, yeah, one of these days, the unsealed podcast will never make it to.
No, it will not.
No, that would
the
be
kikiing will stay kikiing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's private kiki. So, though the Portland Trail Blazers, as all of us, finishing up our 2024 in the last day of 2024. Congratulations for getting another year in, Brooke. And,
thank you. You too.
Yeah, super. What a
year.
Yeah,
I still am floored by how long you've worked here.
Yeah, I've been having family has been coming to the game lately, and so the last couple of games I've had family coming in. The game versus the 76ers, my grandma and one of my cousins and her husband came, and my grandma asked, she's like, so how long have you worked here for, Casey? And I was like, this is my 18th season.
That's insane,
Granny. And she was like, hey, how about that? And I was like, yeah, it's a long time. And I was like, then December is when my anniversary is. So yeah, I think I just officially passed 17 years on like the middle of December. So
good for you.
Yeah. So I've been doing this for a while, and you've been working in the NBA now for how long has it been for you, Brooke?
Let's see, 9 years with the team, 2 years in between the Pacers. That was 3. So 9 plus 2 plus 5 is, 9 plus 2 plus 3. No, wait. Help me. 3 plus 2.
3 plus
5 plus 9. 14 years. And before that was college football.
You were packing. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was fun. I you know what? I did love college football. My goal was always to get to the NBA, always. But, and this sounds cliche, but the pomp and circumstance of college football is second to none.
It is, but I don't.
What? Are you going to hate on it?
I just feel like college football now. I'm glad everyone's getting paid. Like those kids should get paid.
I'm not talking about today's college football.
Well, but if you're asking me about the state of college football.
I have the same opinion, but I'm saying back then when it was like literally 15, 16, 17 years ago. It was
Keith Jackson.
It was pure.
The pageantry.
Oh, Keith Jackson.
I mean, it's never been
Keith
pure.
Jackson
like,
is my favorite.
It's always
human.
been dirty. But my point is that like for me now, it's just like there's no multi-year builds in college football anymore. Or like what I'm saying is that like you could be a good team one year, and it used to be like, oh man, like we were pretty good this year. Another year, this team's going to be great. We're going to really do something next year. Mm-hmm. Now it's like you can't, like everyone leaves, or like the team.
You're talking to the
from one year
person
to the next is tough.
You're talking to the person that went to Washington State who lost their coach, their quarterback, and 35 players.
Yeah,
and like tried to do something in their
conference.
Wow, why'd you say that?
Because I.
Rude.
Oh, Kiki, something else.
Kiki.
Yeah.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I know this better than anyone.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the current state of college football. It's maddening. And some people will be annoyed that I said that because they're like, no, it makes sense because, it works out sometimes. Well, fine.
I don't think anyone likes the current state of it.
I don't think either, but I just heard someone yesterday say, this is like, I was watching a bowl or a game and they're like, this is when the transfer portal works. I'm like, okay, fine. But like for the most part, can you imagine being a college football coach and like starting a program and the next year they're like, I want to go here because I'm going to get paid more money from if I play for Georgia, if I play for Alabama. And I hate it. I hate it.
No. And I guess my point too would be even if you have a good season, like kids are still going to leave.
I know.
And again, like
we had a great season.
Guys,
they all
but
left.
like it just makes it more difficult to be a fan.
Yeah,
I guess.
So I wasn't trying to get into like this debate about college football right now.
To a spot.
But I'm saying I started in college football.
Sundays
back when
and
it
it's
was
the
pure.
fall and like it's and again like bowls now don't mean anything anymore, which stinks. Like used to be like. Now it's like if you don't make the playoff, it's like okay, I guess we'll do the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which is.
I love
fun
the Pop-Tarts
for jokes,
bowl.
but no, I mean, I like that video of that Pop-Tart like
that was
pulling
the best.
off its like I want to know is like the way that foil like sticks to the Pop-Tart's hands, like he like pulls off and he's like and he does it 3 times, and then the third time like it touches the foil part that he had just pulled off, or she, I guess I shouldn't be gendering Pop-Tarts.
How dare
and
you?
And it like links onto its hand and is then stuck there. So like I don't know if it was like. How tacky is the inside of that foil?
Usually
Pop-Tart
it's not.
thing?
I'm not a huge Pop-Tarts person.
I mean, I like the actual product. I know exactly what it is. It's not tacky at all. I eat Pop-Tarts on a fairly regular basis. I'm talking more about the actual costume. But
I wasn't sure if they did that to show that like to be accurate. Like this is sometimes how the Pop-Tarts.
No, they slide out pretty fast.
I know. I've never had a sticky
slick.
situation.
Yeah, no.
I think it was more for show. I don't know.
Yeah,
but no, I loved doing college football. I thought it was super fun. It's like being on the field in the torrential downpours, in the snow, in all like the elements. It's just, you never know. I loved it, but the goal was always to get to the NBA. So yes, I'm here now. This is where I always wanted to be. And it's now 15, 16, what did I say? 16 years, whatever. Long time. But, it's where I've always wanted to end up. I loved doing it, but I'm happier where I am.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to have you too.
Oh, thanks, Case.
Yeah. And the Portland Trailblazers, as I mentioned, finishing out their 2024 with a nice little week. I would say 2 wins, 1 loss. Yeah, for the most part, getting their second win of December with a 122-120 victory versus the Jazz on Thursday, and that game kind of a little make good on from the previous game versus the Jazz, which one of the worst of 2024, I would probably say. And then that led into a very fun win versus the Mavericks, 126-122 on Saturday. Versus the Mavericks team, there's missing quite a few players due to injury and suspension, but still, Blazers come out and
had Kyrie Irving.
They had Kyrie, which was dang near enough. Blazers have one of their best offensive performances, at least of the season, if not of 2024 as well. And then they finish off with a 125-103 loss to the Sixers, which I don't mind the loss. Like, that game stunk. It was slow. They called way too many fouls. I mean, I'm glad he did, but Chauncey, challenged a call 36 seconds into the game, which he was right to do. But that just set us on a path of a very slow game. It took almost 2:45, I think, to play that one.
I checked Instagram way more than I should have during that game.
It was well past 9 o'clock going in the third quarter, which is usually around 9:15, the game is kind of wrapping up. Not the last game of the year for the Portland Trail Blazers, which they ended up losing. But so as I mentioned, they go 2-1, turn in some nice performances. I've had players in and out of the lineup as well. Tumani missed the game versus the Mavericks. Jeremy missed the game versus the Sixers. Robert Williams made his return to the lineup in the game versus the Sixers. But I feel like they're offensively making a few strides. I feel like Deni recently has been really good. I think Shaden has really kind of. It seems to me like he's starting to understand.
I have some things to say
best
about
way
that
to play.
when
Well,
you're
let's hear it, Brooke. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, so I had an interview with him a couple games ago. I think it was it was the Utah game, and I said to him, or asked him, I said, Coach Billups and the whole entire coaching staff has said they are challenging you to be more aggressive offensively and, quite frankly, more selfish. Like you look like you're passing up your shot for no reason. And I said, it seems as though, like, from the last couple games, you've listened to that and you're like being proactive and doing that. And he said yes, and it was like a nice response. He was like, absolutely, like I'm focusing on that. And I just feel like you can tell, like, when he's spotting up for a three. I can recall, I suppose, earlier in the season him like, who can I give it to? And he's like, no, I'm taking this. And so I feel like I've seen it in action where he is looking for a shot, being more aggressive, being more proactive, and not just like being out there like, okay, I'll give it to this guy. I'll give it to this guy. I don't know. I don't feel like it's maybe like it's open enough. He doesn't care. Like, he's like actually shooting when he even is defended. And I guess I'll just say he like reacted like, yes, I've been told that and I'm trying to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've seen that.
Absolutely. No, I feel like for me, more than just as you mentioned, like being a little more assertive, it seems like he's doing a better job of like getting to spots as well. Mm-hmm. And like, so I think it was in the win versus the Mavericks. I don't know why this is kind of sticking out in my head so much, but he had a play where I think it was in the fourth quarter, and he tried to back a guy down and kind of got it like halfway to a spot, I think, and then like kind of did, like a dream shake, and then like raised up and fade away and hit the shot.
I know what you're talking about.
And I remember thinking, I was like, 2 weeks ago, like, I think Shaden probably passes that off, or maybe like steps back to the 3-point line and takes a jumper there rather than a turnaround shot. And I was like, that's great. Like, it's like, that's exactly what you want Shaden to do. Like, he was able to use his size and athleticism to get to a place and then utilize it in order to get a good looking shot off, which I think is, that's what you want out of him. So it does feel to me like I feel like he's really made some progress lately.
He's focused on it. Like, it's in his mind. Like, you can tell he's like, I've been told to do this. I got to think about it and act on it. And also, I'll give him some credit in the game against who we played last night.
76ers.
There we go. That he went up for some putback dunks that did not work out, and he actually got called for a technical interference or something.
Yeah, he got called for a basket interference.
Yeah, which was funny because he didn't get called on it for the first time when he went up and grabbed the rim.
Oh, okay.
Anyways.
Well, and he had that one where like he hung on the rim for like a minute too, because he was waiting for Yabusele to get out of the way. And
First of all, where did Yabusele come from?
I think he was in the league like 2 years ago, went back to France, had a really good Olympics, and then somehow he's back now.
My
and
God.
yeah, like
he's an animal.
He put it on. Yeah,
he's a big beast.
He had a game against the Blazers in that one for sure.
I've never heard of the guy. And I follow the NBA pretty closely. I'm like, who is Yabusele and why is he killing us right now? And he's
that like style of player is making a comeback in the NBA.
He's like, who would I compare it to?
He's like a Chuck Hayes.
Yeah, totally.
Guy to me.
That's a good one.
It's got a big base, to like use to
go into detail, Casey.
Well, he's one of those guys. Like, he's got a big butt
like
that
Evan
he's
Turner.
able to use to his advantage. Yeah, like, and again, I feel like those kind of guys who are more like, he can shoot a bit too. He went 2 of 4 from 3, but like those guys who like, maybe like 6'6", 6'7", but look a lot bigger and like a
he
big
looked
body.
way bigger than that.
Yeah, like those are the kind of guys where they fell out of favor for a while, And now I feel like they're kind of coming back a bit because I think, like anything in the league, like it's cyclical and like something works and then you try to figure out like, well, how can we counter that? And then that's where you end up with guys who are kind of like big dump trucky dudes who can shoot a little bit, who can play, like the 3 and the 4 for you, particularly in smaller lineups. And it tends to work.
He was fire. Like,
he other than Embiid, he was probably their best player in that win.
Yeah, I know. Even above, who's the guy that
Tyrese Maxey?
Who
had a pretty good game too.
He did have a good game, but like he was like the kind of, in my opinion, the breakout star of that game for them. Yeah, I'm not looking for one, but no, I would just say in that game it was, again, to what Chauncey said afterwards, when you foul that much. There's so much stoppage time, and then you have 33 turnovers. Like, how do you pull that one off?
Yeah,
could have been worse, I guess, but like that it was a weird game. It felt like very elongated, and it was weird.
It was a slog.
It was a slog.
It was like playing basketball in the mud.
Yeah,
basically.
Slog is the best word.
Like it just kind of wore on, and like. There was never any kind of flow to it. Like there was never any like prolonged period of like back and forth. Right. It was just like.
And then Deni, who was like, they talked about in the post game that they must have done a really good job of like planning for him because he's been playing so well. 10 turnovers, like you never see Deni turn the ball.
And I think they were probably hunting those a bit too, and they probably realized as well at some point in time, like. Yeah, he's maybe a little loose tonight. Let's get after him. So.
Yeah, I felt bad for him. There's a couple times where he was just like flying on the floor as he does, and then just lost the ball. Like we just don't see that very often.
Yeah. So he had 17 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. But as Brooke mentions, 10 turnovers, which is I
love you, Deni. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, no, we are verified Deni supporters here.
We need to think of a name. What should the Deni fans be? I'm surprised no one's come up with something. I
mean, you could do denizens, but like that's
what's a denizen?
That's like a citizen, basically.
Oh, got it.
So
okay.
If you're a denizen,
we can think of stuff. I think we can get something better than that.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like I think Turbo's kind of I don't think that's a great nickname.
Well,
so like if there was some way to like turn that into like
I don't think that's going to work.
No, probably not. Yeah.
I think we should go back to the Deni situation.
I probably stop myself before. I mean, there's no bad ideas in brainstorming,
But I'm surprised our fans who love a nickname haven't thought of like a group of people that could be fans of Deni with the name Deni. Because, guys, I'm telling you right now, and Casey knows, he has such an amazing fan base from Israel that are like insanely passionate.
Oh yeah, no, they are all about Deni. Like
I've never
you put Deni in a headline, and that's three.
Yeah, Casey's talking about internet stuff because that's his job.
I mean that's a good way to.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying you
support.
I know, like he knows because he sees numbers, and I'm talking about seeing just people.
Brooke's like, I see girls.
Oh, that too. No, girls are for Shaden, but I've seen more men that are just like passionately screaming Deni all game long, no matter where we go. And remember we talked to our other reporter friend who knows, he's like, no, you don't understand. He's the star from Israel. Like the entire like the country knows him
Oren,
and
right?
loves him. Yeah, Oren. We love you, Oren. My point is that Deni has a huge fan base, bigger than probably Blazers fans even understand where he comes from. And they are so proud of him because I mean, I guess I'd have to go back and look at history, but I'm pretty sure he's probably the most famous basketball player that's come out of Israel.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, he would have to be.
And he would tell you, like, that's, it's not a thing there. So that the fact that it's not a big thing there. Like,
the Israeli league is a good league.
That's true.
It's actually one of the better international leagues. I mean, so basketball is big there. And also, too, like, particularly on the East Coast, like, it's just, my understanding is it's just pretty big in the Jewish community in general. For whatever reason, like, there's just an affinity there. And, like, I actually saw a video of a guy who was talking about yarmulkes that look like basketballs and how popular they are. And he's like, I see kids wearing those all the time. And I was like, that's great.
That's great.
Well, that's great for our business.
Well, yeah, it is great because Adam Silver talks about trying to make the league more international all the
Absolutely,
time.
yeah.
And we're seeing that. I mean, think about like some of the best players in our league. Luka.
It's actually, I think there's some opinions, particularly from those in the States, that it's actually maybe become too international, and that's maybe one of the reasons.
Who's thinking that?
Well, because the idea being that, like, the reason, so, when there's all this talk about NBA ratings and how ratings are down, though it sounds like they did pretty well on Christmas, so.
I watched every game on Christmas.
I did too, and the NBA games on Christmas were
They
way
were
better
fantastic.
than NFL games. NFL, get off our corner.
Yeah.
Christmas is,
Boo.
that's the NBA's property. But there's a theory that one of the reasons why the NBA has had some issues with viewership is because most of the big star players are international players. And there's this notion that, like, if you're not an American player, it's more difficult for Americans to get excited about you. So your Jokic's and your Lukas and your Giannis's, like,
I find that ridiculous because
but that's what people say that though.
I'm not getting mad at you. I'm understanding.
No,
I've heard the same
and
thing.
as the guy who always yells when I'm just like talking,
Yeah, you're being
I
very
don't take
calm.
that
You're
way.
being. I appreciate your calmness.
Thank you, bro.
No, I've heard that. So I'm not saying I've never heard that, but at the same time, do you know how people ask me for tickets to see Giannis, to see Luka, to
true.
see Jokic?
Yeah.
And I tell them, yeah, I'll get you tickets, but you're not wearing any of their jerseys. You're wearing Blazers jerseys or nothing. Like, you're not there to support those.
Brooke's pulling people out of the stands mid-game because they
Trust me,
they're wearing stuff. Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. I'm very passionate about that. If I give you my tickets, you are cheering for the freaking Blazers, or we are no longer friends.
My thing is, I'm always just like, hey, just don't get into a fight. That's all.
Oh, by the
You
way,
can
I
wear
saw
what
a
you
fight
want.
last night.
Did you really? Mm-hmm. I feel like I haven't seen in the stands.
Oh, yeah, right behind me.
Oh,
it was
hell yeah.
amazing. So this guy, it was a whole thing. This guy and his wife had a couple pops, and he was yelling, screaming, and apparently those are his seats. Like, season tickets. He was yelling, like, he was mad, like, obviously, like, the game wasn't going great for the Blazers. So he's yelling at players' personal stuff, yelling, and his wife is just sitting there, just not caring.
Yeah.
And then apparently a fan that sits two in front of him, that's also a season ticket holder, turns around and says, "You do this every time. Stop yelling. Stop yelling at the players. You're being ridiculous. Stop it. You do this every time. You're always like this." And then another player started taking video, and then he started yelling at her, and then the wife was just like out of it. I don't know. And so then I watched our security the whole time. Like, I could tell they were looking at something. So they went up, and I don't know if they kicked him out or just told him shut up, but like the whole entire section was like, "Stop yelling." And I'm like, I don't understand that. Why would that's a very good seat where he was sitting. Like, he must pay a lot of money to sit there. Why would you pay a lot of money to sit there and yell at the team that you're there to support?
Well, I mean, maybe he wants those tickets because he wants to make sure he's close enough that they can hear him.
Well, get other hobbies. Like,
yeah.
what? Like, really, seriously, like, that's what you want to do with your life? I was so annoyed. I wanted to go up myself, and trust me. So here's another thing that happened that's similar to that. Last game, not last game, but Dallas game. We were doing a little bit where I was sitting in, I sit in my little corner, and it was the donut drop.
Oh yes, of
and
course.
So we did a little story on it, and so Jeremy, my camera guy and BFF, came over and was shooting it right next to me. And as soon as we're about to start, I look over to my left, and I'm right next to the front row of that seat, that row of seats, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy, I knew he was a Dallas fan. He'd been yelling the whole night. I look over, he has a Dallas towel that's like, "Go Mavericks."
Okay.
And he has laid it over the rung so that it is the backdrop of my shot.
Ah, okay.
And
do you think he did that on purpose?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Okay.
No, he for sure did that on purpose. I look over, I go, "Are you joking?" Like, like 5 seconds before I went on air live, I go, "Are you kidding me?" And I grabbed it and I threw it at him. And the guy next to me was a Blazers fan. Well, most of them, everyone but him was a Blazers fan in that section. And they just started dying laughing. I go, "Get this out of here." And he goes, "Well, I guess I'll do it because you asked nicely." I was like, "I don't care." And then I was like, "Hey, everybody, we had a donut drop."
Brooke snaps right into it too. Yeah, and that's one of the things about you too, Brooke. I think people think that maybe you're joking about that kind of stuff. Brooke's never joking.
No,
it's never like, "Oh, no." It's like, "No, I'm being serious."
I was dead serious.
Get this out of the way.
I was pissed.
You should have hit him with the Blake Griffin.
I should have.
Which is you gotta cup of water. He's been like, "Oh no!" And then you just splash it right.
Well,
in his
you know
face
what?
and
My
throw it on his
my
phone.
audio guy gives me 3 Diet Cokes a night. I don't know why, but I should have like.
You're drinking 3 Diet Cokes a night?
No, I'm only drinking 1, but he always gives me 3. It's just like a nice thing. He's like, just in case you want more. He's really nice. So everyone laughs like, you drink that? I was like, no, he just gives me 3 a night. I don't know why. I've never even asked for 1. But so I should have thrown my Diet Coke in his face. But I was so annoyed. I couldn't believe he had the audacity to lay it over as a backdrop to my hit. And I will just say this, like, I'm a very nice person. Casey, knows this and
Brooke
says
is a
this.
very nice person.
I'm a nice person, but I do not deal well with injustice or things that are just not right, wrong, things that are wrong. And this man putting his Dallas Mavericks towel behind my backdrop is wrong. And I do not do well with that stuff. And so I literally, I didn't throw it in his face, but I grabbed it and I just tossed it. I was like, get out of here.
Get out of here. Get this out of here.
I was so mad.
That's great, Brooke. I'm glad.
Thanks.
So I always try to, like, on one hand, it's like, I appreciate you bought a ticket. So, like, I'm going to let you rock. God, there was something the other day where I think I didn't say something to a fan, but I said something kind of in the general vicinity. Mm-hmm. And then I felt bad about it afterwards. This is not a very good story.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Well, no, I can't. I don't think I can get there now. And then the guy asked what I do on his way out, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm right. I work for the team." So I was like, "So if you want to complain, I understand."
What did you say?
Gosh, what was it? It might. So I've also been like yelling at the contestants during timeout games
You
a lot
always
lately.
have done that. You've always done
But like
that.
it's amped up a little bit because I want to see people win, and when they're doing things that are like so obviously detrimental to your chances to win, it drives me nuts. And it's like, dude, come on! Like, so we had that bowling game the other day.
Oh, that
and
was
that
terrible.
little kid was
That
like,
was
he kept like
terrible.
winging it sideways. I was just like, I wanted to walk down there and be like, you realize there's a prize at stake here, young man, right? Like,
my
you
God,
can
that's
win
so
something.
funny.
All you have to do is roll the ball straight.
He was
Like, he
was
wanted-
trying to show his strength.
And he had a boot on too, so like he was out there and like he's just like weighing like he's trying to like throw it like you can't get English on a basketball on a court like that. Like maybe like one spin, but that's it. And it's not going to help you knock those pins down, kid. Like just throw the ball at the pins. Like I was like, why are you doing that? And it's almost like someone got in his ear and was like, hey, what you want to do when you're out there is take the ball, hold it under, put it on your in your palm, and then just try to whip it around as fast as you possibly
God,
can.
that's so
How that's
funny.
going to result in the pins getting knocked down, I don't know. But it's
You're gonna look cool doing it.
Yeah, and like, so that wasn't it because it was further back than that. But yeah, I've been shouting at people.
I will tell you that I feel you on that one. That was rough. I was like watching it going, what is this guy doing? Like, it's not working.
Yeah.
You're trying to throw it as hard as you possibly can. You're not hitting a single pin.
I don't even think he was looking at the pins either.
No, he wasn't.
Like he was just launching it. Which
Yeah.
like I also understand too. You get out in front of a crowd, that's a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Like so the guy who won Jamba in the 76ers game, first couple shots he took were Bush League, and I was like, oh, this guy's not going to win it. And then like he like locked in and just went bam, 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 and got all three. But like I started yelling because I was like, dude, come on, like get the shots up. Like, and folks, one of the most important things about halftime games when it comes to shooting, get them up. Like it's a volume game. It's not about like, you don't want to like sit there and take your time. Get the ball up in the air. Like just get it at the rim. You got a much better chance winning that way than you do like taking like set shots. But I will say that like this guy was very calm. Like he was just like, in my head, it's like, I bet he's a bundle of nerves right now. But also, like, you're just like, he was pretty smooth through it. So
so funny.
Again, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you probably shouldn't listen to me for the most part, like, but sometimes you should because I've seen a lot of these games.
I have sat next to, so I don't get to sit next to Casey at home. He's way far away from me. He's on the other side of the court, way up. But every once in a while, I am blessed with a seat next to him on the road. And you do the same thing for away halftime
I do.
shows.
Yeah, you're right about it. And actually, I feel more valid in doing that too because like there are fans in our arena. Like I'm gonna yell at you if you're the opposing team's fan, whatever. Like yeah, I still want you to win. That's like I want everyone to win. So except for the chicken nuggets thing. So like opposing, so like the missed 2 free throws, everyone else gets something. Like one, that's like
it's bullying.
That's for me is worse than losing games. Like lose a game, fine. Do not give these fans free food. Like that is that's my number one motivation. Do not be the reason why these fans are going to be happy about something. And we also need one of those at Moda Center. Like we need if the opponent misses 2 free throws in the fourth quarter.
I hate that. Really, Casey? I think that's so mean. I hate that.
It is mean, but it works.
I know, but I hate it. I feel bad. I don't care if it's our team and another team. I hate it when there's someone up there and they like the whole entire crowd is rooting for them to miss the second free throw after they missed the first one. It makes me feel bad.
I mean, they should, but I would say you should be rooting that way anyways. Like you should. I mean, like you would hope that it wouldn't require the possibility of free fast food. But when there's
incentives and everyone's on there, like on the edge of their seat, like the second one that like, I'm an empathetic person. And when that happens, I'm like, oh, I feel so bad for what's his name that happened to him. And he knows it's just a thing.
Yeah. Brooke's like, I want everyone to yell at this opposing fan in this section. But also, I feel bad for.
No, that guy was
players.
a jerk.
Well,
that guy was a jerk.
How do you know the guy shooting free throws isn't a jerk?
Well, I don't. You're right. He might be a jerk. I don't know. I have to do my research.
I mean,
if he's a jerk, then
I don't think Joel Embiid is a jerk, but he did take 13 free throws in that game, and I think you could have yelled at Joel Embiid in that game.
I wouldn't have cared if he missed 2. Now that you say that, it depends on the circumstance. If he missed 2, I would have had no feelings. So you're right. It depends on.
He'd have fallen down after the first one.
Oh my God, I talked about that in the post-game show.
Like,
I said that. I go.
I mean, I know other people are like, well, of course he does it all the time. It's like, well, look, I maybe don't.
It was a thing last night.
It was like the 2 that stick out in my head. The one, so Ant fouled him, got him on the arm, and he like launched into the stanchion.
I thought he was going to hurt our camera guys.
He might have, and then the one he shot a 3-pointer at the buzzer, and then just like sat down. Like Habsy falling down. I'm just like, dude, come on, man. Get out.
It's so funny. Like we had the first segment of our post game show was, what do we talk about? And I said, well, sadly, we have to talk about turnovers, and then we'll talk about Joel Embiid. And so we talked about turnovers, and then I said, and I went to Michael, and I was just going to say, like, Joel Embiid, we talked about pregame. How do we defend him? Didn't work out well. What went wrong? But before I could even get, I was like, but first, can we talk about how much he was on the freaking floor? Like the man was sleeping on the floor all night long. I've never seen anything like it.
The trainers must be like, dude, Joe, please.
I mean, every time, like, and as a man that size, you shouldn't be.
That's a long ways to fall.
Yeah,
and a lot of weight to fall too. That's inertia.
That's inertia.
That's a lot of it. Like, and that floor ain't soft.
No, I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, okay. And then the next time you would do it, I'm like, really? Did you even need to fall? Like, you didn't need to fall.
Yeah, sometimes it just feels, it's like
you got fouled, but like, just get fouled and stand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. I just had a problem with that last night. I thought he was being a little dramatic.
I agree. It felt like a little much to me as well.
Okay.
But,
not just me.
What can you do? Bringing it back to nicknames, though, too, Brooke. I feel like one of the things with guys who have and I do feel like we're starting to get locked into these things, and I don't like it. So you look at the guys on the team, it's like there's not other than DB Hooper, there's really not a good nickname on the entire team. Because they're all we've really entered the era of nicknames just being the shortened version of your name, and it's not good. Because we got
JG
and Scoot and Shay and Deni, or initials DA, JG.
That's what our team is really into that though. They love
I
initials.
know, but what I'm saying is that we got to break the cycle. We don't have a. I mean, so you got Robert Williams, and no one's called him Time Lord yet. So
I love that nickname.
So, and it's a good one too. So we gotta do that
to
more.
To me, because I always say he's my dog.
That's true. So he's
my dog, and he will always be my dog.
But he's also the Time Lord dog.
Yeah, Time Lord is the best nickname of all time in my opinion, and we should call him that more. Well, he hasn't been playing, so it's not like
that's true. But he's back now, so I think hopefully that he's going to be able to stay out there, and maybe we'll start be able to call him Time Lord. But and then you got you got Kling Kong, which is pretty good.
It's hard. It's always hard for me to say. I'm like Kling Kong. I never say it right. Like Kling Kong. Kling. It's
Comedy K's King Kong Cold Kato Kaelin.
Oh, did you know I met Kato Kaelin?
No, but I mean, while you were studying in Azerbaijan or Turkmenistan or
I was
North
in LA.
Korea? You were in
I
LA.
was in
Okay.
LA. And it was so. This is so random. So I went to Nobu, which I've never been to.
Which one?
The one in LA. I don't. There's probably more than one.
It
was
I'm
literally
more than one, but
20 years ago. I was like 23, and no, I was. I can tell you exactly. I was 22, and we went to Nobu, and it was my boyfriend at the time.
that's a good rap line. I was 22 at Nobu.
I was 22 at Nobu.
Yeah,
That was good.
Yeah.
And so then we were going to like a party afterwards, and I looked over, and Kato Kaelin was there.
I don't think I would recognize Kato Kaelin.
Oh, he's very recognizable.
Maybe the hair, but like that's...
Oh no! I mean, it was so dumb. I was like, I've told you, I've never asked for an autograph, a picture, nothing. For some odd reason, I felt the need.
You broke the seal for
I have
Kato
a picture
Kaelin?
with Kato Kaelin. I was like,
I guess picture. If you had said autograph, I'd have been like,
well, that'd be
what?
weird. What
That
would I
would
do
be
with that?
weird. But yeah,
No.
but photo, okay. Like that's. Do you still have it?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
I'll find it.
This. Yeah,
no, I asked for a picture. I was like, I'm so sorry to bother you. How are you? Can I get a picture?
How's it going?
Where
are you staying these days,
murder?
Kato? Yeah.
Since the murders, how you been? And so he was very nice, and we took a picture, and I'm like, I cannot believe I just did that. But it was just like so random, and I was like, might as well. You know, it kind of was like whatever. But honestly, the only two people I've ever asked for an autograph or picture, I think I've talked about this, Nancy Kerrigan at the airport in Seattle, and she said no.
You did not tell me that. You got denied by Nancy Kerrigan?
I didn't. I was 12 years old.
I don't condone violence, but I mean...
No, she was a total bitch.
But I mean, when you spell out the whole thing, Brooke, it kind of, you know...
I don't want to say it out loud.
Well, that's fine, but I mean...
I was 12 years old. I went up, I was like...
That's crazy. She
Yes.
gave you the
I had
stiff arm.
I had a napkin from the Alaska Airlines boardroom with a pen that my dad gave me, and he's like, yeah, go ask her. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's Nancy Kerrigan. Because I love the Olympics.
Yeah.
And so I went up, and I was like, excuse me, again, 12 years old, awkward, weird, like, just say yes and sign it. She's like, no, thank you. And I cried.
I am surprised that she did not give you an autograph.
She said she absolutely shut me down.
You know who absolutely would have given you an autograph?
Tonya
Harding. Tonya Harding 100% would have given you an autograph. She would have taken a photo. I mean, like, again, Tonya Harding is an Oregonian, like, to the core.
Love her.
She is an Oregonian,
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the mud. I came from the gutter.
I'm proud of it.
I'm trying to grab this little piece of high society. I know it's probably never going to happen for me. So screw these rules. I'm going to play it the way that's going to work for me. I mean, again, violence is not right.
I see where you're going.
But Nancy Kerrigan, you should have signed that autograph. And Tonya Harding, you are a true Oregonian. If you grew up like Tonya Harding, you know what it is.
You know what's up.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I couldn't. I was 12, so I didn't know. I had never asked for an autograph before.
Was your mom with you?
Yeah, they were. My mom.
Did your mom be like, "What the hell, Nancy Kerrigan"?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would assume your mom would be like, oh, "What the hell?"
She was pissed. I don't recall. This was a long time ago. I don't recall. She did not approach her, but she was like, "Well, that's bullshit, and we're not friends with her anymore." You know, like
I cannot believe she turned. Wow, that's.
Just like on a napkin. Like all she had to do was take 2 seconds.
Well, and also like you're in the Olympics too, so like you're like that's like halvesy stardom. I mean, granted, you know, like the way that played out obviously became a bigger thing, but like as an Olympian, like you have a very short period of time in which people care about you because like once that's over, like you're just some other Joe, and yeah, that's. You
know what I'd also like to add?
She's from Massachusetts too. That makes sense.
Well, I'd like to add this. The worst SNL host of all time.
And you are an
I'm
SNL
an SNL aficionado.
I know. They let her host?
She was so bad. I cannot even that afterwards SNL like apologized. They're like, we are sorry. You had to watch that.
I'm on her page right now, and I want to see. Oh, and you know who the musical guest was that night? Boy, this is an affront.
No idea.
The great Aretha Franklin.
Well, then she saved the
how
show.
Dare
how
they
dare
make Aretha
Nancy
Franklin
Kerrigan
share the stage with Nancy Kerrigan,
what a
who
joke.
did not sign Brooke's
freaking
autograph.
legend. Aretha Franklin. Oh, that's like my youth. I grew up with Aretha. So the fact that like she had to share a stage with Nancy Kerrigan really upsets me.
In 2004, I'm on her Wikipedia page right now. 2004, Nancy Kerrigan sang a cover of "The Best" for a Tina Turner tribute album. There's and also you're gonna sing a Tina Turner song on a Tina Turner tribute album. Can you imagine Nancy Kerrigan saying "Simply the Best" better than all the rest? That's not no.
You know what's funny? I've watched that, and it's so bad. It is so bad. It's an abomination. I watched it. I don't know how I watched it. I don't know where it came to me from, but it's some like things just pop up when you're like on Instagram.
I do, yes.
And it popped up, and I watched it. I was like, I am worse for watching that. Like I am kind of like faulted. I feel like a worse person for watching that. She
married her agent too. Yeah.
Oh, no. They always do. Ugh, gross. She's
Tonya,
worse. This is a Nancy Kerrigan
Tonya,
hating
exactly.
episode.
This went a different direction, but Tonya Harding, you're
Tonya Harding
you always
for
got
life.
a place in my heart, Tonya. I can't sign off on everything you did, but I know where you're coming from.
We get you.
And you would have signed that autograph 100%.
She would have.
She would have taken a photo. She would have
she would have been great.
That would have been much nicer.
And if I ever see, you know what, Case, if I ever see her, I will ask her just so that I can say, Nancy Kerrigan snubbed me and Tonya Harding gave me an autograph.
Yeah.
If I ever
we
come
might need to
across
follow
her.
up. I wonder what's Tonya up to these days. I'm gonna look
Is
this
she
up.
back in Oregon?
I'm guessing that Tonya probably never left Oregon because again, that's another Oregon thing. It's like you're this is where you're from. Like, let's find out real fast here.
I would like to guess where I would like to guess. She in Gresham?
It's a good guess. Let's see here. Oh, that's right. She boxed too. Oh, Tonya.
I forgot about boxing. I think she was on like one of those reality
shows. You kind of get in that
well, you got to make money.
That area. Yeah. She in 2018 she stayed on the Ellen DeGeneres show that she's active in skating and practices 3 times a week. I bet she's still great.
You know what? Skating is awful. Like good for them. Like
I can't stand up on skates. Like
skating.
I do not have the ankles to ice skate. Like
I look like I just was a born deer. Like I can't walk. I hate it. I've tried it so many times. Like every year I'm like it's going to be better this year. And I get out there and I cannot do it.
I'm always one, I can barely stand up, and 2, I'm always sure that my fingers are going to get cut off. Like I'm positive that I'm going to have I'm going to fall down, I'm going to have my fingers on the ice, and someone's going to skate over them and it's going to chop them off.
Well, it's a valid fear. I mean, when you watch hockey games, people have had some pretty awful injuries.
The one that sticks with me is he was a winter hawk. It was when he was in the NHL. He got cut in the throat.
Yeah.
And in the jugular. Who was that guy? He was great.
I don't know his name, but I know what you're talking
know who
about.
I'm talking about. Yeah. Someone will mention.
Well, that's happened, and then obviously cuts on the face, and it's you don't think about that stuff, but it does happen, and then also
they sharpen skates. I mean, they make them sharp.
Yeah,
you're gonna cut somebody.
Well, I mean, when you're out there on the Christmas ring, I don't think you're gonna get your face cut off, but at the same time, I'm just trying to stand up. But I'm just ice skating is not for me. It's not my thing.
The ice skating rink is the only thing keeping Lloyd Center afloat these days too. I think.
I thought they were going to redo Lloyd Center.
They talked about it, and then it's a pretty big property. They first they want to do the baseball thing, but that's always going to be a fiasco. And then there's talk about trying to if nothing else. So I went there to try to buy a copy of Mario Party, which they had at the GameStop. I get to the front and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we don't have this." And I was like, "Then why do you have it on the shelf?" And they're like, "Oh, we can order you one." I was like, "I can order one." The world of the internet, I know I can order a copy of Mario Party, but I'm trying to buy it here because it's not going to get here in time for Christmas. And And when I was leaving, I was like, it's so warm in there and there's no one there and all the storefronts are basically closed. Like, you got to let people sleep in there. Like,
well, they've been doing that. I watched this 60 Minutes where they've been turning old malls into apartments.
The Lloyd Center is ready for that because, like, again, if there's so much empty room and, you know, I realize that once you do that, like, it brings on a host of other issues.
Well,
but, like, if anyone is cold outside, I'm sorry, like, let those people sleep in Lloyd Center because
it's a whole
there's
thing.
Plenty of space. They got the heaters cranked up to 10.
I would love it.
And there's, again, like, and it's like a centralized location too. Like, I don't know.
I'm surprised they haven't because that seems like a very Portland thing to do. And they have been doing it. Like, I think I was Minnesota, Milwaukee. I watched a whole thing where they have turned all the malls into apartments and people, like, it's weird to look at, but like people walk into the mall and go into their
I mean, it would
homes.
make a lot of sense. And I mean, we have a lot of like, there's a lot of talk in Portland too about like, you know, we have a lot of office space now because, you know, a lot of people never came back into the office after COVID. And about like, well, can we turn it into housing? It's a pain in the ass to turn office buildings into housing. Like, particularly with like, we have a lot of zoning laws in Oregon. Like, it costs more money to retrofit something than it is just to build something new, which that's a problem in and of itself. But
yeah,
you know, we're covering a lot of ground on our last
Man,
podcast.
this is a doozy.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're not done yet. We didn't even get to like, you had a rant about Christmas scratchets that we were going to get to that I was going to
shout out to my
well.
dad who is always giving us scratch offs.
I did not get any Christmas scratches this year.
You didn't?
No, I usually do, but no.
So,
changed.
I mean, that's always fun because there's always the, you know, possibility you could win $10,000.
It's a good gift.
Yeah, it's a good gift. But my dad doesn't listen, so my mom does, but my dad doesn't. So I feel fine saying this. He gives me the worst ones. He gave me the crossword puzzles.
Those crossword ones are too hard.
It's too hard, and then you're like scratching, and then if you scratch too hard, then you're like, did I do the right? Like it's just, and it takes forever.
The thing you can't trust yourself.
Yeah, totally.
Like you have to. You have to scan
checked.
it.
I triple checked.
And like, and if I have to scan these in order to make sure,
then why did I do the work?
Then why do it? Exactly. Like it. Like I think for people who are maybe like a little more, they maybe need to gamble a little bit more. Like I think maybe those ones like will slow you down a little bit. So maybe that's
a good point.
That's what they do. But like I completely agree. Like they're too hard. Like it's not what I want out of a fun scratch it game. Like it's like
painful.
I have to think. I have to like pay really close attention.
A21. Okay, A21. And then you go look, and then you're like, where was I? I got to start over because I don't want to miss one. And it's just it's painful. It's not fun. And at the end, you don't win anything anyways. And then I'm like, I just wasted 5 minutes. Well, let's be real, like 10 minutes. 10 minutes of my life to know I didn't win anything. And I actually said that to my dad while I was doing it in front of him. I was like, these are the worst. He's like, well, I'm sorry. I was like, next time, can you just not get the crossword ones? He's like, oh, I thought you'd like those ones. They're fun. They're interactive. I'm like, no, they're interactive, but it means that it's taking up a lot of your time. And then you just to find out you don't win $1.
And if it was time consuming but fun, it would be like, all right, but it's
not fun.
Like it's like, and I like doing crossword puzzles, but like it's not. You know, the fun part of a crossword puzzle is you're like solving a puzzle. These are just like,
all I'm solving is that I'm still broke.
Yeah, no, and they, and again, they're the ones that you have to like, I want to know if it's a winner or a loser. I don't want to have to take it to the 7-Eleven to have them get scanned to make sure that it's not.
But I'm still going to do that because I don't trust myself.
You can't. The crossword ones, you can't trust yourself.
Yeah.
Like they're too hard. What do you use your, I mean, you got nails, so.
No,
like,
I use a penny.
Use a penny, okay. Have you ever had like those little, the ones that they look like super tiny, like ice scrapers?
No.
Yeah, so they have those too, where like you can use them to.
I think that's when you.
It's like an Oregon lottery one that's like a little.
I think that's when you realize you have a gambling problem.
Well, no, it's a fun little tchotchke. And also you don't get the little foil under your.
I've
nails.
never heard of that thing.
And also too, so you're talking about using a penny and how like if you scratch too hard, it like will tear it up. I bet with the Oregon lottery approved ones that doesn't happen.
Okay, then you can get that for me next Christmas. And let's talk about what we gave each other this Christmas because we nailed it.
We did do good.
Yeah, so I gave Casey a pair of New Balances that he's wearing right now.
I wore them specifically they're great. I really like them. And I had been wanting, and Brooke didn't know this, but I had been looking for a pair of New Balances for a while. And I almost bought them a couple times. And I do that stupid thing where like, I'll almost buy a sneaker and then be like, well, you probably shouldn't. So that's really nice for Brooke to buy me a pair because then I don't have to do the like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't. So,
well, the best present is the one that like you wouldn't buy yourself, but you really want,
That's
you
true.
know? So I'm so glad that you like them and they look so cute and they're awesome.
they are good. I'm really happy with these.
Oh,
Brooke.
good.
Thank you so much.
Did you wear them on purpose because you were coming here?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I wore them to the first game.
You
after
did.
Christmas
You did.
Eve.
And they look great too. And Casey got, so I explained this whole story and Mom, sorry, I'm just going to.
Oh, no. Yeah,
No, it's fine. She knows. So I asked my mom for a large gold watch last Christmas, like a men's watch. And she did give that to me, but she gave me like a thinner band and I wanted like real like men's, like over the top, like huge. I still loved it. And I wear it all the time. I love that watch. But I was talking.
You do wear that watch.
I do. I love it. But I was telling Casey about it. When I got it, I was like, do you like this? Because I like wanted like a really thick one, like big band. He's like, no, I like it. I was like, but he did say, if you don't like it, just tell your mom, you know, because Casey knows my mom, just tell her and she'll be fine with it. And then you get a new one. I was like, no, I think I like it. And I do. I love it. But Casey remembers this and gives me a watch this year that was gorgeous, huge, thick gold band, exactly like the men's look that I loved. And we were so excited. Like we gave it to each other at the same time. We opened at the same time. We're like, oh my gosh. Like we nailed it.
Yeah.
I was so proud of us.
These are really, I mean, and so I bought people sneakers this year too, because I was like, I'm just going to buy people sneakers.
Well, that's your realm.
It's my, and like, I'm good at it. Like I know what good sneakers look like and I know where to buy them at for good prices typically. So to get a pair too this year, I was like, oh, awesome. So yeah, no, these are really great. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Well, we know each other well enough that we should probably be good at giving each other gifts.
Yeah, you would have, but you know, it can be tough sometimes. You know, like sometimes it's hard to find something. You're out of time. So, but yeah, no, we did. It was nice.
Yeah, we did good.
Yeah, we did. So, but you know, if you don't want to do scratch-its next year for Christmas, consider getting tickets at Spirit Mountain Casino, where Aaron Lewis is coming on Saturdays, January 18th at 8 o'clock. Doors open at 7 o'clock, and you must be 21 to attend. Tickets starting at just $55.
Sorry, Donovan Klingen.
Get ready for an unforgettable night of music with Aaron Lewis at Spirit Mountain Casino. Join the multi-platinum, chart-topping artist for a captivating evening with hard-hitting rock anthems and soul-stirring country ballads. Whether you know him from his work with Stained or his powerful
That's
solo
how
career,
I know him.
Stained, which are they coming to Moda Center soon too? I feel like Disturbed. Yeah, Stained and Disturbed. I was getting mixed up.
And Stained are very different.
I mean, they cannot be that different.
Well, I've heard of Disturbed. I've never heard of Stained.
I think you probably know some Stained songs.
Oh, what a weird name.
Yeah, it is a little weird. That whole like, oh, sad guy, like that was a real thing in like rock for a minute there. And now it's back now with that Jelly Roll fellow, but
no, Jelly Roll is not emo.
I guess he is.
He's country. Are you nuts?
Well, he's emo country though. I mean, his whole thing is beautiful and broken. Like that's emo to the max.
Absolutely
that's
not. I will stand on this mountain. You are putting Jelly Roll in the same conversation as Disturbed and
yes, that's the same thing.
Casey, no,
bro, that is the same side of the same coin. Like,
I can't wait to hear what people think about this because you are wrong.
They're going to agree with me. You already won one argument today with me.
I did.
You're not going to win this one. That's a corollary. That's a 1-to-1.
Absolutely not.
The fan base for Jelly Roll is the same fan base for Stained. If I'm thinking of the right band.
I feel like you've lost your mind.
No.
Are you kidding me? He is a country singer.
Well, so you're telling me there's not crossover between country and rock music anyways?
but they're not this. You can't tell me that Jelly Roll fans are Stained and Disturbed fans.
I am absolutely telling you.
No way. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to hear the reaction to this.
What you're trying to tell? You think they're like Hank Williams fans?
No, but like I'd say they're Jason Aldean fans. They're just like pop country fans. Jelly Roll is pop country. I mean, he is like.
But he's like, oh, my sad life.
Yeah, but that
drugs
doesn't.
And
But
alcohol and
yeah,
me.
but that is like the sad part of country. That doesn't mean
and I'm saying that like there's like a very alt rock like segment of that too. It's like, oh, I'm a guy, but I'm sad, and like, oh, I can be affected by things.
But it's not the
in
same.
my life.
I agree with you, but it's not the same
to be
fan
fair,
base.
I don't really listen to music, so
It's not the same fan base. I will say that
it's the same fan base.
It's not. It's absolutely not. No, I cannot wait to hear the reaction. No way.
Well, so if you're at Aaron Lewis and the State Liners on January 18th, Doors open at 8, 7 o'clock. You must be 21 to attend. You can tell me how many other fans are there to hear about Jelly Roll as well. And to my point, Aaron Lewis and the Stateliners, they perform a captivating evening of hard-hitting rock anthems and soul-stirring country ballads. That's my point, is that it's both. Like the rock anthems country ballad guy is like, that's Jelly Roll, I'm guessing. And with the face tattoos too, like how many country guys have face tattoos?
None.
Bam.
That doesn't mean anything to
me. It does. That is alt adjacent.
I would say that he is like maybe the most alt country singer, but I just highly doubt, just hear me out, I highly doubt that the people listening to Stained and Disturbed are listening to Jelly Roll. I'm just saying. They're different. What about
Post Malone then? Says he's making his country turn now.
You're just talking about people with face tattoos now.
Well, right. But what I'm saying is that country music is now inhabited by the white young male who also like has face tattoos and is more in touch with his
Post Malone is
now
like Post Malone is almost like a soulful, like that's like his music is again, it's a completely different genre. It's a different genre from Jelly Roll and a different genre from
I'm not saying it's not a different genre, it is, but I'm just saying there's a lot of crossover.
You're just saying like that people that look alike, you should like their music because they look alike.
I'm saying that the people who look alike probably look alike and have themes in their music that are very similar, who are of the same demographic, very likely have fans who are fans of both of those artists. I think that's a very reasonable assumption to make. In fact, I don't even think it's an assumption. I think it's
let's say there's a blonde gal that is in pop, and then there's a blonde gal that's also in R&B. I must like them because they're both blonde.
So if there's a blonde gal who starts a career in country music and then makes the move to pop music and then becomes very popular, Taylor Swift. Yeah, exactly.
Shut up.
Exactly.
You can't. That's not fair.
It's a thing. I'm saying there is that's like a pipeline. Pipeline's not the right way to put it, but like it is a common way to move through a musical career in the 2000s.
Okay. Last thing I'm going to say, and then we need to stop. I'm just saying the fan base for Disturbed, the fan base for Stained, I'm trying to like think of them.
Yeah.
And I just don't know that they feel the same way about Jelly Roll as they do about Disdained and
well, I mean, maybe they don't feel exactly the same way.
I just confused.
But to me, the music is like they're singing about these same things. They are singing in kind of to these same audiences. It would see in very similar autological sounds of their music. I think there's a lot of. I'm
excited to hear the reaction to this.
Yeah, I hope we do get some reaction because I'm curious whether or not we will.
Can you do one of those things when you post it and do a poll? Be like, yes. Who's right, Brooke or Casey?
Well, I might actually just give it a little. Yeah, I'll make people actually have to listen.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
Yeah, say, please listen and please wait. Yeah, it's way at the end. It's the last thing, but we need to know your thoughts.
Well,
Brooke or Casey, who is right on that?
Well, Aaron Lewis and the Stateliners on the American is America as it gets to, and it's the America as it gets tour, Brooke. The Aaron Lewis and the Stateliners, it's the same. Aaron Lewis and the Stateliners, January 18th at Spirit Mountain Casino. It's going to be a great show. You can hear their captivating hard rock anthems and stirring soul ballads from his time with Stained and also his powerful solo career. You don't want to hear Aaron Lewis's raw emotional performance. Just like contemporary country music.
Yeah, no.
It's about like being sad and stuff.
Oh, jeez.
Which, you know, I get to because I'm a sad and stuff guy as well. So,
stop that case.
But also on February 21st, the Tic Tac Vietnamese tour is also going to be at Spirit Mountain Casino. Tickets for that start at $80, and they don't have any explanation of what that is, but I've been seeing the billboard, and it looks pretty cool. So whatever Tic Tac Vietnamese tour is, they will be at Spirit Mountain on Friday, February 21st. And it's a Friday, too, so I bet that's going to be a rager. I might. Are we around? That seems like it's about in at All-Star break as well. So that might be a good chance to go down to Spirit Mountain Casino on Highway 18 in Grand Ronde and check out. It's like a tuxedo party kind of thing.
Looks fun.
I'm going to look this up actually after the show.
My favorite thing is you doing reads.
I'm good at it.
You're really good.
Yeah, I mean, like, and then Styx is on March 7th at 8:00, and that if we're in town, I'm definitely going to go.
I would go to Styx.
Prepare for a night of unpredictable music as legendary rock band Styx takes the stage at Spirit Mountain Casino on March 7th, 2025. Known for their high energy performances and timeless hits, Styx promises to deliver a spectacular show that fans won't want to miss. Formed in the early 1970s. Wow, in the early 1970s? Shout out to you guys. Styx has carved out a niche in the rock world with anthems like Come Sail Well, Lady, and Renegade. All those. Man, Renegade is a banger. The scene in
I can barely
in Happy Gilmore or in Billy Madison where he's like decided that he's going to give up and they're playing Renegade and he's dancing around. Man, God, that song is good. The unique blend of rock, catchy melodies, and progressive elements has captivated audiences for decades. True. With a lineup of iconic songs that span generations, the band will ignite the spirit of rock and roll at Spirit Mountain Casino. That show is on March 7th. 7:00, must be 21 to enter as well, and that one starts at $85. That's going to be a heck of a show. And that's saying if Styx plays the hits, that's going to be a great show.
Well, they're obviously going to play the hits. What else are you going to
do? You're my lady. And that song, the lady kills too. When they get to like the breakdown, man, like they're going hard.
So excited.
Yeah, man, I love Styx. And actually, so Adam Sandler must be a Styx fan because he also talks about Styx and Big Daddy.
Well, you know that they're coming out with Billy Madison too.
I do. We talked about that, and literally the next week they're like Billy Madison 2 is coming out.
And it's a huge deal.
This podcast, yes. I said they need to do another Billy Madison before everyone is too old to do it, and then literally the next week they're like, we're doing one. And you know what's
funny about that is I watched an interview with, what's her name from Modern Family, the mom, blonde. She was in Billy Madison.
Oh, she was?
She was the love interest.
So I don't watch Modern. I've literally never seen an episode of Modern Family.
I'm so disappointed in you. Are you serious? You've never watched?
No, and I feel like I should because.
Are you nuts?
Mans is from Springfield. He's a Duck, so I feel like I should support him. But I've literally
interviewed him at a Blazers game. By the way,
one episode.
That is so like Casey. I'm embarrassed for you. It's the best show in the world. I can't not believe you haven't watched that. Claire. Well, her name is Claire. Anyways, the actress, she's so wonderful. She's so funny. And I watched an interview because she's coming back in the show. And she's like,
they're busy bringing everyone back.
Well, no, and more.
Yeah.
So she was like, what's funny is like they planned it out. Like I come every like weekend or like, and she said she's not really in it that much. It's kind of, well, you know, cause she's older and like I don't even know if they're together in the movie anymore. But, she said they had like a secret plan where like every celebrity had a special name. So like when you looked at the calendar, like when you were supposed to go, you didn't know who you were going to see. And apparently there are like numerous insane celebrities in it. Like it's pretty much like a celebrity show, which makes sense. You know, like might as well. But
who wouldn't want to? I mean,
everyone does. Yeah. And so it's going to be really, I'm just really excited about it because I think that movie's hilarious.
It reminds me too, like R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
Oh, I know.
We lost a lot of good ones in 2024. Carl Weathers is a certified grade A badass.
Yeah, he was.
It's too bad he's not going to. Well, I mean, I guess his character does die in the first one, but like they could have absolutely brought him back in like some kind of like dream sequence. It would have been awesome. That's really too bad.
And didn't he have like a fake arm?
Yeah, Chubbs. Yeah, he got his arm bit off by an alligator.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
of course he did.
Then Happy kills the alligator and gives it to him in a box, and then he falls out of a window.
As he should have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then Shooter McGavin tries to play in his honor, and then Happy's like, I'm playing for Chubbs.
If I ever have another child, Shooter is going to be his name.
I think Chubbs is a better name than Shooter.
Chubbs? Yeah. No, Chubbs.
Shooter is too like that's too loaded.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll just go with
if you have
James.
You might.
I thought Shooter was a fun name.
It is. It's a fun name. I take that back. But as like because it's like kids and shooting,
I didn't. I didn't think about that. I was just thinking of it in like a lighthearted way.
It is,
like Shooter McGavin's a funny name.
It is a funny name.
Okay, we'll go with James.
Yeah, we're just switching to James.
Yeah.
From Shooter to James.
Yeah.
What about Chubbs?
Chubbs, I just feel like there's going to be a lot of bullying involved with that if your name is Chubbs, especially if you are Chubbs.
Do you think Chuba Hubbard, like people called him Chubbs when he was a kid?
Probably.
Yeah, he turned out all right.
Well, so like people made fun of, like kids made fun of me for Brooke and Olzendam because it rhymed, and they said,
"Wait, what? Oh, Brooke and Olzendam rhyme?
Brooke and Olzendam. So I will just tell you this one thing, which I cannot believe I'm sharing, but I will because it's a safe space. Richard Brown was his name. I will remember this forever. We were out on the like in recess, and we were like playing around. He's like, Brooke and Olzendam sat on the potty can, and I've thought about it every day for the rest of my life.
On the potty can?
Potty can.
Boy, this is like a Depression era. This sounds like you were like 60 years ago or something. Like you guys are in the Dust Bowl.
I mean, I know it didn't even like make sense. Like that's not even like no one's ever called it that, but he like made it work with my name. Like do
I not know your middle name?
It's Ann.
Ann. So I thought you were saying N.
No,
I thought okay.
Brooke and Olzendam.
Okay.
Yeah, but by the way, I think Richard Brown's in jail right now, so everything is as it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was like, it stuck with me forever. Like I went home that night, I cried all night. He said it in front of everyone. And I've thought about it every day for my life. You know, like when you like are embarrassed as a kid, like you remember
for sure. There are
things.
definitely like, there's like 3 or 4 things where like, even now, like when I think about it, it's like, you start to tear up a little bit because you're like, man, that hurt.
Yeah, I know. It didn't. Then Jeff, what was his last name? Jeff Nixon made fun of my shoes because I was a basketball kid from the get go. Like, so I had like really cool Nikes that were like high tops that I was so like you'd be proud of me.
Yeah.
Like I was a shoe head from the beginning, and I had these really cool high top red Nikes that my dad got me. And I wore them to school, and I was so pumped about it. I was like, I feel cooler than I've ever felt. And Jeff Nixon comes up. Jeff Dixon. Doesn't matter, but it's Jeff Dixon. Jeff Dixon came up. He's like, hey, Ronald McDonald. I never wore him again.
No.
I know. I never wore him again.
Kids are so mean.
I was devastated.
That's a bummer, too, when like you're so excited and happy about something, and then like it just takes one little thing to make you to turn it and then make it feel the exact opposite. That's terrible.
I know. And so I would just say, if we can tie a bow on it, listeners.
For all the kids out there listening.
Be nice to one another, as Ellen always says at the end of her show. Don't say anything. Like just be nice, be careful, be thoughtful, empathetic, sympathetic, and take care of each other.
Yeah. And that's a good message going into 2025.
Yeah.
We
didn't mean to do that, but we did it.
Yeah, no, that works well. And so thank you all for joining us on this podcast that's about the Portland Trailblazers.
Sometimes.
Question mark? Sometimes. We didn't talk about Greg. Shout out to Greg Oden for coming back.
Oh my gosh. I do want to talk about that.
Like things that like you feel bad about and then they're better like once you kind of put it behind you. I'll be honest, like when I heard that Greg was coming back and like, oh, we want to do some stuff, I was like, okay, I guess, but like I didn't know how it was going to come across. And part of me is like, that's such like a hard memory for a lot of people that like, we were going to bring this up again. Entirely wrong. Yeah. Like it was so cool. Like Greg was so great.
Adorable.
Such wonderful perspective. Like the people should try to like live their lives as
be like Greg Oden
done. Exactly. Like when like things don't turn out the way you hope, like you can let it ruin you. And for some people it does, but you can also like move on from it and take some value in it and feel like appreciate it for like the good parts of it. And like I have like a really good bullshit meter. Like I can tell when someone's like saying something to say it. And like, you know, like you got to wrap down. You see it all the time in sports because you get asked the same things all the time. So I understand it. That's not what it like. Greg was like so authentic and like kind. And I just thought it was great. I was so glad that he came back and like had a fun moment. I thought it was awesome. Like shout out to you, Greg. I'm really glad his family was here too. Like it's great to see him with his family. Like, and just like grateful for the opportunity too, which like, that's another thing in this business as well. I feel like a lot of times, you know, some guys feel like they're like owed something more that one, you're not. And two, like, I feel like kind of makes it sometimes feel like, I don't know, like when they come back, it's almost just like, it just doesn't feel real or authentic or like there's like good emotions involved. It's more just like, I'm here because like, what else am I going to do now? That, like, again, completely opposite for Greg. I thought it was wonderful. I hope he's around more, and I just thought it was really cool.
I did too. And so Casey and I went, so they had like a kind of mini press conference with him. There was, I would say, like 15 people in there, maybe, like a lot of cameras. And
I apologize to the cameraman for telling you guys to get out of the way, by the way.
He did.
I'm sorry.
He did say that.
So bring a reporter with you guys. Like, and I appreciate the places that bring a reporter with you. That's what you're supposed to do. Employ people, folks. Journalism takes bodies. Give people jobs.
Little side note there.
Yeah.
So I got there, like I was running to get there because I had to do one interview, and then I had to do a coach interview at 5, and it was at 4:45, the press conference. So I was like, I can be there for like 7 minutes. And so I walked in, I was in there, and then Casey walks in, and then we're waiting, and he walks in, and it was really cute because I have to tell this story. So he comes up and shakes Casey's hand, gives me a hug. And that was it. Like, he didn't say.
Yeah, he did. He did it. He acknowledged me and he acknowledged Brooke, and then he went. Yeah. And I mean, like, I would like to say that, like, I don't like that.
It was great.
Like, because I was here.
Yeah.
When Greg was here.
I was here
and,
too.
Like, and you were too. And like, Greg recognized.
Yes.
He knows us.
He
a
knows.
little bit.
The only two people he knew were you and me.
Yeah.
In that room, and it was like. I mean, again, I don't like get that excited about stuff like that, but it was meaningful.
I clocked it too. I was like, hey, how about that?
Yeah, he recognized us and gave us.
He said hello to us.
He dapped
and then
us
he
up.
Went and did the media.
Yeah, and then he's like, "All right, done with you.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone else in here."
I wish I would known, and I got him off to the side for a minute too, which I didn't think was going to happen.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I would have been I mean, you know, I can pitch anyone, you know, 6 or 7 minutes worth of questions, but I wish if I had been a little more ready for it, I would have done a better job. But it's on the other podcast I do.
I'm sure you did great. Okay. Oh, we don't know about the podcast.
Yeah. No,
but anyways, he was so sweet when he walked in. Like, that's got to be intimidating. Like, you're walking into a room of the reporters, and he sat down rather than just was like, okay, go. He's like, I just want to start by saying, like, this is such a meaningful thing for me. Like, I'm so happy to be back here.
Well, and he was just like, hey, everyone, happy holidays.
Oh, he was
like,
wonderful.
Yeah. Like, that was the other part too, that like, I even noticed. I was like, the way that he's speaking right now is really good.
And back in the day, he was very soft-spoken.
Yeah, and
he was not
just unsure of yourself a little bit.
He was not like that. He was very sure of himself. Very sure of himself. Very like pointed. Wanted to say what he wanted to say, and said, "I just want to tell you exactly what you said. Happy holidays. I'm so grateful that the organization brought me back, invited my family, and I want to give a shout out to Brandon and all the other people.
They're doing a great job.
They're doing a great job because a couple years ago they decided we need to work harder at alumni association or alumni relationships.
Yeah.
And
which is true.
And because of that, they've been doing a great job.
They've done a fantastic
We
job.
got Terry Porter on 20 games this year. We had Dan Dickow. We have all these alumni coming back, just even if it's just for a game, but just like we want to let them know that we still care about you. Like, we appreciate your time that you spent here. And so this was like the biggest thing to me was the Greg Oden thing. Like, that's huge.
Well, and because there was something that I realized when Arvydas Sabonis came back years and years and years ago, that you just assume that these guys realize like how loved they are and how much they're appreciated. Sometimes they don't. Mm-hmm. And so like with Arvydas, like there was really, he felt like he let people down. Really? And like he was like, I was embarrassed to come back because I felt like I let the fans down. Which is, I know,
like one of
the
biggest fan favorites
super
of all
sad.
time.
I know, and that's my point too. Is that like, dude, like you are beloved, but it just feels different for those guys because when you have a fan base that is so supportive, like you take that on as like, hey, I gotta do well for the fans, and then when it doesn't happen, like you don't feel the support. You feel like, boy, I let these guys down, and like. They must
that makes me really
be sad that like I wasn't able to deliver the things that I wanted to. And I've heard players say that throughout the years. And it's really made me feel like it's like we need to do, and I've said this a couple times in different places now, that like we have to do a better job of letting these guys know that like, hey, Like, you were appreciated, you were loved. Like, you don't have to feel like you failed at something.
Well, I feel like we're really trying to do that.
Well, I don't know how many foreign players listen to this podcast, but I hope they would.
No,
and
no,
as an organization, we are too. Yeah, but I was even extrapolating that out more to fans too, just to be like, you don't have to like fawn over these guys or anything, but like I want them to know that like people love when former players come back. Like, they love it. Like when Brandon comes back. Like, Brandon's only been back a couple times. Brandon kind of the same thing, cut short by injuries. I'm sure that, there's a piece of him that, it's probably hard to set aside like what you were hoping you could have done, while also understanding that like, no, but like I had a pretty good run too. And so I think for guys who really felt like, it could have been better if things had just gone a different way.
Yeah.
Like, I think for those guys, it can be difficult. And so for a guy like Greg, like I was a little concerned that like, is Greg going to be like, boy, I really, like I wish I could have done better for you guys. And like, and I'm guessing he does feel that in some ways, but like his perspective about just like being happy about his time in Portland, which again seemed authentic to me. It didn't seem like he was just saying
no,
that.
It didn't seem.
It was. You're exactly right.
Authentic.
I that made me feel good because it's like, okay, at least Greg understands that like it's not animosity. It's not like this guy Greg. Why couldn't
not even zero animosity.
None. Yeah.
No, the fans are so excited. And I loved just his perspective where, he was asked the tough questions, like, is this hard for you? Like, what could have been? He's like, yeah.
Mike Richmond did a great job in that. I told him that too. I was like, I was going to pitch a few there, Mike, but you actually did a really nice job. So I just let him have it.
Well, he's the greatest. We love Mike Richmond on this podcast. But he did. He asked great questions and he answered them again, authentically, where he said, yeah, of course it's tough. Like, I wish I could have been more, like, done more, but it doesn't take away from the experience I had here. And this is like, he said some really nice things. Like, Portland still like is home to him.
Yeah.
I mean, not obviously like authentically home, but like it's in a way it is, because he's like, they chose me. I did as much as I could for them. I was received very well and welcomed in, and obviously it didn't work out, but I was just so impressed with him. And then I don't know if you saw this, Casey, but when he went to the PF the next day, we did a feature on it in the pregame show. And his daughter, I think her name was London, I'm pretty sure. London and his wife, and it was 3 of them, and they went around the PF, and some players were there. And obviously he really wanted to see Chauncey. He saw Chauncey. And then he was like doing they have the thing where you can test your arm length,
your reach,
yeah. And he did that, and he was like 7'6" or something. It was insane. And him and his daughter like took pictures everywhere. It was just I said it on the broadcast. I was like, that's like the most adorable thing I've ever seen in my life. It was cute, it was like he was like nostalgic, and he like looked at his locker. He's like, that's where my locker used to be, and it was a feel good thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like what could have been. Darn it! It was like, thank you for what you gave us as much as you could, and we're appreciative, and we want to let you know. And I hope he comes back every year.
I hope so too. Yeah, and I hope more guys come back, and I think they're working to get some folks back as well. So, that's been a really cool thing the team has done lately, and again, they should hats off to them because they're doing a good job. Mm-hmm. Something that we should have been doing before, but at least we're doing it now, and that's great.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it for this edition, the final edition of 2024 of the Blazers Balcony, presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition and all year long. We'll be back sometime not too far into 2025. That's as far as much as I'm going to say. We are going to be on a road trip here to start the year, so we'll probably be doing something from that. But I hope you all have a great new year, a great end to this year, and a great start, or just a great 2025 in general.
Yeah. We really appreciate you listening.
We really do, yeah.
All the people that come up and tell us they listen, we love you, and even the people that we don't see that listen, we love you. Yes,
and I had a couple guys come up to presser the other day and say, hey, so thank you so much, everybody. It's very helpful. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Have a safe 2024/25.
Peace out, 2024.